Page 4, I saw Mommy kissing Santa Claus. Santa Claus. I say Santa Claus, it's whatever. She kissed somebody. 4/4 time, no sharps or flats except for a bunch of accidentals all over the place. I'm going to talk about a few things. There's some tricky things going on here. I'm going to start with the right hand. Start with the second finger. And they're saying 1 and 5 on here. If you don't want to use the thumb there, you can use third or second finger here. That's fine. Third, and then you have to move. Now I suggest you try this fingering instead. Here, here, fourth finger on the A, just bring the fourth finger down. This is normal for piano. You need to be able to play fourth and fifth with a note in between. So you're going to get that a lot, so don't shy away from that. So it's here. And then it's just 1-3, and then 2-1. I can connect it all with the fingers. And then we start the piece, and again it's the 1-2-1. I don't like the 1-2-1 thing, but sometimes you're stuck with it. And then second line, third measure. Crossing over again. A lot of crossing going on here in this kissing stuff. Then lift up and move. They're saying 1-4. For that 1-4, the eighth notes, you can use second finger on that D sharp if you need to. And then thumb. And then here you're pretty much stuck with 1 and 2. It's just for one beat. And then lift up. Cross under. Watch all these accidentals. Now here, at the top of page 5, they're saying here, you don't have to, you can go here and come down with the third finger. I get them all in here, that's fine. The D sharp G, and we do that again. Second line, third measure. Dotted rhythms, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's just a short note. Hold that down and then lift up in the eighth rest and move. Third line, second measure for the eighth notes going into the third measure. I'm recommending a 2, 1, 3, and 2, 4. Here, if you don't want to put a thumb on, now if you want to put, you don't mind the thumb on the G sharp, then you can use the fingering. Here. And I'm recommending a 2-4 for the dotted half note. You can do a 1-3 because a phrase you can move, but a 2-4, and then now this fourth line. We have a little problem here because the way they're doing it, going from the second measure to the third measure, you're out of position. You're here. Want to go here. It's a minor thing and the pedal will connect it and you can do that, but I like to do this with the fingers if I can, so I'm going to recommend this for the fourth line on page 5. Thumb on the E, crossover for the, and then E again. So I'm anchoring my hand here. I'm just here. Now I can do a 1-3 and then a 4-5, and then a 3, and then a 1-4, and then 2-5, 1-3, 2, and then when you repeat, you're back to 1. Also, I connect it with the fingers. So the last 2 lines on page 5. Use the fingering in the book if you want. The pedal will help connect things. I just like to feel this melody with the fingers if I can, so I tend to do that. It's a little more complicated fingering. You may not want to bother with it right now, but you keep it in mind for other pieces, it might come in handy. Left hand, keep the left hand soft and out of the way at the beginning. I would do a 1-4 for the E flat, and then 1-5. So I'm just crossing over, and then a 1-2-3 here, and then come down. Broken chords here. I tend to do a 5-2 for the AE. There's other fingerings we can use, but I don't want to. You have to experiment and see what you like. And then going on is be a 4, not a 5, because you're here, then go here. And actually it's better if you use a 4 on the E, because you got to go down. And that way you're not using little finger all the time. And then going on is broken chord, and then third line here. Fourth finger. I wouldn't. You could use fifth finger on that, but it's a little awkward. So I prefer 4. If you want fifth, that's fine. And then here. Third line down, last measure. Their fingering is fine. This is typical. Here and here. We're going to slur those 2 notes with the hints. Then a rest. They come back up. I recommend a 5-2. So we got 5-1 for the next one. And then here. Then here. I do a 4-3-2. I like the fingering here. And then here. Same as what we had before. Second line, third measure on page 5 here. If you can, it's big enough, you can use 5-2, but 5-1's okay. And then I do a 3-1, a 3, and then a 2-1, and then a 4. I'm just, don't have to, you can use their fingering too. I just don't like using fifth so much, so I do a 3, 4, 5. And then up here is 4-1. And then a 5, and if you don't want to use the thumb on the C sharp, then do a 4-2. Otherwise, they're fingering. Fourth line down, third measure here, and then a 4-1, and then 3. Yeah, that works fine. Then, once you got it for each hand worked out and the fingering that'll work for you, go put the hands together slowly. You may have to forget about the rhythm for a bit until you just get the hands working together, because you can go here, and then on the next one you're going to go here, here, and then here. See? So you get that part working, and once you get that, then you can slowly put the rhythm back in, so it goes. What you're after eventually, but at first you may not be able to do that, so you have to work up to it. Now parts of it won't be too bad, you'll be able to get those over. On the second line, second measure, make sure you rest in the right hand. Rest. The left hand's legato. Third line, the rest in the right hand. Now this part, watch this third line down, third measure. Here, 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 here. That may give you some problems. Weird, but that's what it's written. I didn't do it, they did it. We want that rest here with the right hand. It's a new phrase. F sharp at the end of the line, third line, that's still an F sharp, because that F is the measure, right? So work this out slowly and forget the rhythm at first. Just get the notes and work and all that, and you can gradually, once you're a little more comfortable with it, you can put the rhythm back in. I'm going a little fast for the video. I don't want the video to last forever. The dynamics, get to know the piece and feel the dynamics. They say loud, that's the right hand. All the dynamics apply to the melody. Everything else has to be under it. So loud at first. There's a retardando and a fermato. Now when I play with a metronome, I'll just hold that for 2 beats instead of 1, and then we go on. And I don't break the phrase here. I connect all of that, but to me that's unmusical. I don't like that feel, so I will connect that. And you've come down to medium soft or medium loud, and then you're going to go. You're up to loud. Stay loud. But you're not going to be loud all the time. You got to get a little louder and a little softer. You got to, you feel it. Basically, you're on the loud side, but you can get louder and softer. See, at the bottom of the page 4, they're telling you to crescendo, well, you're not going to be loud and crescendo because you're only going to loud. So you had to have come back down. So when you start this at the bottom, or the pickup to the third measure, it's similar. Come back down at least to a medium loud, or maybe even a medium soft. So feel these dynamics after you get to know the piece. Now when you got all that working for you, then we can add the complexity of the pedal. See, I've done all this without pedal because I want to hear every note. I want to know how long I'm holding down each note, and I need to hear this very carefully. And once I have that, then I can, when I add the pedal, I can hear the real difference between having pedal and not having pedal. So for the most part, we'll just pedal it like they've got the pieces hard enough without having to add a bunch of complicated pedaling in. So it'd be nice to hear the phrasing, it'd be nice to hear the rests, but again, it's mostly legato. I'm going to push the notes down and then the pedal, and I'm going to change the pedal after I play the notes. We get some blurring, but that's okay. Here, I'm lifting the pedal with the right hand. I want to hear the rest. And here, I'm lifting the pedal with the right hand. This is the second measure, third line. It's the end of a phrase. I want to hear the rest. So let's hit. And at the end of the third line, lift it up. Pedal the last beat. You can connect it because there's no phrase break, but don't pedal that. And on the last line on page 4, second measure, I'm lifting it up. I'm not pedaling beat 3 or 4. I want to hear the right hand. I want to hear the rest, and it's a phrase. There you can pedal it like they're saying. This second measure at the top of page 5. That's fine, because in changing the pedal, we hear the rest in the right hand, and that's what I'm after. And the second line, second measure, I'm not pedaling the last beat. I want to hear the rest. The third line down, second measure, I want to hear the rest. I'm lifting the pedal with the right hand. 1, 2, off. they're saying until I get down to the bottom. First measure, no, I want to hear a break. I want a little silence there, so I'm going to pedal it here and lift the pedal up with the hands, so with the right hand. You can keep the left hand down, sort of, except you're playing that note again. And then this legato pedal to repeat. Or if you go into the second measure, you legato pedal just like they're telling you to there at the end on the second ending. That's it. Second ending is what I meant. And it says moderately slow. I've heard this at all kinds of speeds. Some people will. To me, this is moderately slow. See, all the time in that third line down there, I want to hear the B. Don't drown out the B. Other people will play this happy. It'll be almost fast. That's not moderately slow. So you're going to have to decide the feeling and from day to day or whatever, it can change. It's how you feel it. I like to go through it slowly with you together just to check the notes and the rhythms and all. I'm not doing dynamics, any of that. We're not performing it. I just want to do the notes and the rhythms, but we will take the repeat. So I'm going to give us 4 counts. So let's do this slowly together. 1, 2, ready, go.